Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm DFX. Um, Something I've been wanting to do for quite a while here on the channel is to take you on a deep dive into my pop culture collection. I'm going to divide this video into two parts, and let's get into it. So I figured the best way to bring you this room and have me, I'm going to be in director's mode here that I use with my Galaxy S22 Ultra. Um, and I'll go through the room and I'll show you every little nook and cranny bit and aspect of my collection here in my office. And I've got a lot to cover, as you can see. We're going to start up here at the top. I'm a huge, and I know some of you may know or may not know this, I'm a huge wrestling fan. Been a fan since back in the day, WCW, NWO. And I've got a bunch of action figures. Pretty much all of the action figures I'm going to show you have really deep meaning to me in that era of wrestling. Let me flip-flop here. I really just I loved wrestling growing up as a kid. I went away for a time back when wrestling was really big, back in the 90s. I moved to Denver. I lived there for a while, and then I ended up moving home, and the first big thing I was part of my life was the whole Monday Night War. And a lot of people may or may not know what that was, but it was a period in time where rival companies WWE F at the time and WCW battled it out for viewer supremacy. And a lot of my figures are from that era, even though they're newer, but a lot of my action figures are from wrestling figures are from that era. Go up top here, start off with Kevin Nash. Yes, I've met Kevin Nash. Tall guy. One of the tallest guys that I've ever come in contact with. I'll actually bring it down. But I met Nash at Colorado Springs Comic-Con back in, gosh, it's been a while. I don't really have an exact time, but man, I look like a little kid compared to him. The funny thing is, I was quite old in this picture, but that was always a memory that I'll have. I also met Booker T. I guess we'll start with some of the people I've met. Booker T, five-time WCW champion, and he was champion also in WWE. Met John Moxley a few years back. Amazing man, this dude was ripped when I met him. Also met Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and you guys have seen that here on the channel. When I met Booker T, had him autograph his King Booker attire. This is a big moment. I've also met Rey Mysterio Jr. He was Rey Mysterio Jr. when I first knew him. Then WWE dropped the Jr. when he got there, but he's a multi-world champion as well, cruiserweight champion, whatnot. Then we'll bring it down over here. Well, let me go back up first. I'm going to be kind of all over the place in this video, so let me take it back up here first. But then let's go back up to the action figures. Big fan of Macho Man Randy Savage, especially when he became part of the whole NWO Wolfpack storyline. That was big. And as you guys know from other videos in my catalog on my channel here, big fan of Sting, and no matter what form he was. This was when he was in the Wolfpack, NWO Wolfpack. Then we got Scott Hall, RIP, big legend there. And then we got Six. He was Six in WCW. He later became X-Pac in WWE with Generation X. But when he was in the NWO, he was Six, spelled SYX. But yeah, that was always a big time. Then I've got some more current figures. You know, I love the Stinger. And there's his first AEW figure. Matt Hardy. Broken Matt. When he first came to AEW. Then my biggest fan of this guy, Orange Cassidy, when he became, you know, when AEW started. And bring her down here. Then when I met John Moxley, Dean Ambrose in WWE, had him sign his world championship when he became world champion, and had him sign his figure when I met him. See, I kind of got near him, but that was a big moment. Cool dude. He loved. I was wearing one of his Moxley shirts, and he just loved it. I have it's a bunch of random figures, just a lot of people that I've liked. Got a lot of respect for this person, Chris Statlander. She was quite the TBS champion there for a while, but she couldn't be champion forever. But there she is. And got Anna Jay. I was actually supposed to meet her a couple years ago at one of I think it was the Colorado Springs Comic-Con, and she had canceled. She and Ruby Soho were supposed to both be there, and she had canceled. So, but the very first AEW women's wrestler that I met was Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and I found her figure online, and it hadn't even been out very long, and I got it in time for the Colorado Springs convention. But let's go back up to the Impact Wrestling. This set of Impact Wrestling TNA, now that they're TNA again, this was the very first set of action figures they put out. And this set was kind of cool because it was a limited edition. I got the 185 out of 250, but this wasn't signed by Jeff Jarrett. Then you got AJ Styles, got him to sign that. But this all came in a set that TNA Shop had on their website back in the day. Then I have Sting, of course, Sting. These were all dominant people when TNA Impact became really big. Got Kurt Angle. And as much as I hate the guy, he's not my favorite wrestler. We can have conversations about that. But I have Samoa Joe. Then they had the mystery wrestler, Suicide. Suicide. And then they didn't put that on, but they just put this symbol, which is kind of an interesting little thing there. Now, the two most dominant females in TNA wrestling at this time and era, were the beautiful people, Velvet Sky and Angelina Love. Both separate series in the figure line. This one I happen to get from my friend who are big wrestling fans too, and it was signed by Angelina. I actually got to meet Angelina, and I'll show you as I move along here. I got to meet her and Team 3D, the Dudleys, back in the day. But I'll move along here. My friends also got me this autographed of X-Pac. See, it is the X-Pac. It's not 6. But Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, the Outsiders, basically. Probably one of my favorite groups, little factions in WCW. And I've shown you all these. But moving down here, oops, sorry about that. Here's a long time ago. Impact Wrestling TNA did a show in near where I live, and this was back, 2009, when I met the Dudleys, Team 3D, and they were tag team champions at the time, and the one and only Angelina Love. Great person. very nice to meet. Yeah, there I am down her. But let me, as I kneel down here, just last year I also had a chance to meet Ruby Soho. And there's at AEW's New Year's Smash 2022. I think it was 2022. Yeah. And then also had a chance to meet Danhausen. Excuse me. Then one of my favorite wrestlers who's come back to AEW, and at the time of these figures, she was in WWE, Saraya, but she was known as Paige in WWE. So I got both these figures of her. So moving back on this other little bit, there wasn't too many female action figures when this line first came out, and this one was special because it represented the 10th anniversary of Raw, when it was the 10 years of Raw on TV, and they did a Trish Stratus action figure. I've been fortunate to both meet her and Amy Duma, better known as Lita. So I've met them. As I go down here, one of my favorite TNA ring announcers, she became a ring announcer, was Christy Hemme. This was one of the first things I actually ordered off eBay, if you can. And that's been a while. So yeah, that took a lot for me to get, because I didn't know if there was one of those points where I didn't know if she was ever going to send me her signature or whatnot. I actually tried to contact her. Caused a lot of problems. I'm sorry, Christy, for that, but I didn't know. I know they're always busy and stuff, but I didn't know when to expect my autograph, and it'd been almost a month and a half since I even had any activity about it. So that was kind of scary, but in the end, that was the autograph she sent me. And next to her, I've got one of the former TNA Knockout Women's Heavyweight Champions, Angelina Love. My friend gave me this autograph as well, because she was kind of trying to shift through some of her, weed out what she wanted to keep and whatnot from her collection. I also had a chance to meet the phenomenal one, AJ Styles, when he was still in TNA, the company that he was first a part of before he went to WWE. So I got, I'm wearing a Spock costume in this because at the time this show was on Halloween in Loveland, Colorado. It was a house show, and so they said to wear your Halloween costumes, and I went as the Calvin Timeline Spock. So you can see I got the ears and whatnot. But I also have his autograph as well. Him and the fallen angel Christopher Daniels, who's now part of AEW. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So now we're gonna pop on over here to my main pulp culture autograph wall. Got a lot here to show you here. But yeah, this is the heart of my collection in this room, other than some of my wrestling stuff you've already seen. But I've had a chance to meet a lot of superheroes from DC and Marvel. We're going to start off up here. I met the one and only Agent Coulson from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Clark Gregg. I met Fonka Jensen. I met the one and only Stan Lee. Oh, I don't have anything autographed by him, but that is him. Big moment for me, because he did Spider-Man. He did a lot of the comic book life people you see nowadays. But there's Fonka Jensen. Yeah, I was wearing a suit because I was cosplaying as the Men in Black, and that was just one of my big. That was a cool moment. I've also met the May from the Cavalry from Shield, Ming Na Wen. I think that's how you say her name. But there's Clark Gregg and me. I was wearing Shield stuff. The cool thing about Ming Na, I think I'm saying her name right. I hope I'm saying her name right. She was also on one of my favorite dramas growing up, ER. That was on NBC for 15 seasons, and she played Nurse or Dr. Chin on that show. That's why I'm wearing scrubs. And the cool thing about those scrubs is they are from the set of the show ER. I'll show you. There's another picture coming along, and I'll show you. But made my day. I'm cosplaying as Dr. Green. If you guys can figure that out, and you know who Dr. Green is. And then I met some more agents of Shield. Guy Mac and Yo-Yo. Move up over here. Also met Michael Chiklis. He was on the show called The Shield. He was the original Thing in the Fantastic Four movies, and he was also on the TV show Gotham. So he's been both in DC and Marvel shows. So that's, I always thought that was kind of cool. Bring it down here. So there's the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. from their final season that I got autographed. But I also met Haley Atwell. She's been recently in the new Mission Impossible movie, Dead Reckoning Part 1, with Tom Cruise. But she was Agent Carter. And this one's always gonna be cool for me too. It's Weird Al. It's Weird Al Yankovic. It's from his comedian parody songs. But yeah, cool moment. Cool guy. Yeah, it's Weird Al. Bring it down here a little bit. I also was fortunate to meet Daryl McDaniels from Run DMC, the famous rap group that started hip hop. One of the few groups that started the hip hop genre. This was kind of cool for me because I didn't know at the time when I met him that he was also doing his own comic book series, DMC, and so. Yeah, you can't really see the autograph too well, but that was just a cool moment. I saw Run DMC in concert when they performed here at my town's university, and that was always a cool moment for me because, unfortunately and tragically, probably I think not even months after that concert, Jam Master Jay, the DJ guy for Run DMC, was fatally shot, wounded. I know this is good. There's a lot. Like I said, this is a deep dive, so it was always cool that I got to meet DMC after, well, years and years later after that event. So we'll swing it down here. There's Daniel Logan. You know him as young Boba Fett from Star Wars Attack of the Clones. And this was probably his most memorable scene from that movie. It's cool too because I've kind of kept in touch with Daniel over the years. Just recently, when he came back to Colorado Springs, he remembered who I was from the last time he was here. So, and he's liked some of my stuff, my posts on Instagram and whatnot. So, Daniel, thanks for keeping in touch with me. Forgot to show a few other things with my wrestling stuff. Let me show you those really quick. Like I said, I'm going to be bouncing all over the place in here, so hang tight with me. I also have a few other Sting figures. These were ones that called the Defining Moments series that WWE put out. So I got him in his crow look, Sting in his crow look, Sting in his patriotic look from Bash at the Beach, where he had his match with Ric Flair. Then I have Hulk Hogan, classic Hulk Hogan, Defining Moment figure. And then finally, Macho Man. These three individuals in wrestling probably were the ones that I related more to or knew more about than any other people, like wrestlers. But we'll move back over here. It's a lot of moving around here and whatnot. This guy was in the show Agent Carter. He was also in the final season of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because of time travel stuff. So I think his character name was Daniel Sosa. It's been a while since I've watched any of those episodes, but yeah. So I met him too at a one of the conventions down in Denver. This is the 80s pop queen known as Tiffany. Some of you know out there that I had a chance to actually see her in concert a couple years back, the day before Halloween. And yeah, so but that's how close I was. I'm not using a zoom on that picture. That's how close I was to her in that moment. Like I said, not even an arm length, and she's just singing her hits right in front of my face. So that's something I'll always remember. Let's move down. So I've also had a chance to meet some of the people from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I didn't get their all of them. I didn't get all their autographs, like the selected few that I've met or wanted to have. I met James Marsters. Sorry if I'm butchering the names, but that was one of the few that I got an autograph with or from. Move a little further down here. I actually got to meet all the Buffy villains at this convention back in, gosh, I'm a little fuzzy on the dates and stuff, but there's James and the girl that plays Drusilla, and yeah, it's been a while since I've seen Buffy, so I think you will recognize some of them. Also met Emma Clodfield, big on from the Buffy show, but I knew her from a little known show known as Beverly Hills 90210. Yes, I've watched Beverly Hills 90210, so there's me and her together. But also, she played Susan Yates, something like that. But yeah, that was a cool moment. Always thought she was cool on Beverly Hills 90210. And then I saw her on Buffy. I'm like, oh, that's really awesome. But we'll move back up here a little bit. There's me and Keith Coogan. If some of you know him from Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. And what I know him from is Adventures in Babysitting. And he was a cool dude when I met him at Colorado Springs Comic Con. He ended up following me on Twitter, which is now X. So I thought that was cool. Also, another good photo matchup that I met was the Home Improvement guys, Richard Karn and Debbie Dunning. So yeah, they're got their autograph and photo op. But really, very grateful. I mean, Richard Karn, man, he's very grateful to his fans, and I got to interact with him quite a bit when we were down there, and he remembered me from our photo op. So that was pretty cool. Bring it down here a little bit. We'll go over here. I have met Giancarlo Esposito. When I knew him and when I first met him or was introduced to him was a show on NBC called Revolutions. It didn't last more than a couple seasons, but I met him at Starfest, which is one of those other conventions down in Denver. But that was his saying when he was in the show. Pretty cool guy. Yeah, this is my computer desk. Also at Starfest, I met Oded Fair. When he was there at Starfest, he was doing promotion for Resident Evil Extinction. I'm sorry. And yeah, he was cool dude. Well, I always remember it because my, at the time, friend who's now my wife, got him to sign one of the Scooby-Doo movie cartoons that he was in as the voice. He played, I want to say he played, I can't remember exactly, but he was in the Mummy, some Mummy show with oh my gosh, I'm so blanking on stuff. I'm so sorry. But anyway, he was in a Scooby-Doo cartoon, voiced one of the monsters in a Scooby-Doo cartoon that my wife had. She got that autographed. So we'll move a little more over here. I've met the one and only Shannon Elizabeth. You guys know her. She's been in like the American Pie movies, Jay and Silent Bob movies. But that was an unexpected autograph. Originally, I was going to get Tony Dowd's autograph, and it ended up Tony Dowd canceled, which would later lead to his passing the very following year. So thank you, Shannon, for signing this. Kind of took a place of that not going down and having the reunion with Wally and the Beaver. But I've met the Beav too, or Jerry Mathers. But there she is with me and her. Then this just went off the rails. I met Zach and Lisa from Saved by the Bell, Paul Glossler and Lark Voorhees. And I'm just like, I actually went all out and I got the Max shirt, the little fictitious high school hangout they would frequent a lot on the show. So, but yeah, and there's their autograph. This, I think, came up mainly because, and I met them at Colorado Springs too, at their convention as well. But I think this matchup happened mainly because Dustin Diamond passed away. He was originally supposed to be there with Lark, and they were going to do a photo matchup. But Mark Paul stepped in and for him after his passing, and that was cool. We'll move over here. I've met Marina Baccarin. She's been in so many things. Mostly, if you're a fan of Firefly, which I've never seen, I know you guys can leave why you've never seen Firefly comments below. But yeah, but this was from when she was the queen in the remake of the television series V. She was the alien queen from that. And that's when I met her. Once again, another autograph I got at the Starfest convention that used to happen down in Denver. Okay, we'll pop back up here. This is probably my prized possession of my whole autograph photo op collection. It's the cast of Scream, the original Scream. And that just happened last year at Fan Expo Denver. Rose McGowan, Skeet Aldrich, Henry Winkler, Matthew Lillard, Jamie Kennedy, Nev Campbell. Man, go watch my video about that. I think it's my recap from day 2 at Fan Expo Denver 2023. Go check that out. Big moment for me. Also was getting this autographed by the 6 of them. The Scream poster. Wow. It brought up some emotions I didn't know how I was feeling at the time. Yeah, go check that video out. Maybe I'll leave a link here and you guys can go check that video out. But that was a big moment for me. Probably my favorite horror franchise. Other than now Thanksgiving. I love that movie. You should go check that one out too. But we'll move along here. A lot of these you've probably just seen more recently. There's Cassandra Peterson, known as Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. Catherine Bach, all know her as Daisy Duke from the Dukes. Reflection's kind of bad there. Daisy Duke from the Dukes of Hazzard. And then we've got Danny Trejo. He's been in so many things. I'll show you his autograph here when I get to it. But yeah, Harry Ellis, Princess Bride, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. William Daniels, classic TV actor, voice kit in my favorite show in the 80s, Knight Rider. You know him more as Mr. Feeney currently from Boy Meets World, Girl Meets World series. Then out of nowhere, sometimes things just happen and you meet a Playmate of the Year from 22 years ago. So yeah, that happened 23 years ago now. But that happened. Brandy Roderick. Occasionally, I got more superheroes I've met here. From the classic Incredible Hulk TV show, I did meet Lou Ferrigno at one of the few Cheyenne, Wyoming Comic Cons they had in my area. So that was kind of a brief little thing right there. And Val Kilmer. I met Val Kilmer. You knew him as Iceman in Top Gun Maverick. But he also was Batman. And this was, I think, not too far from like him just having a stroke. And he has slowly tried to get himself back together from that. And he didn't really say anything to me. He just gave me a thumbs up and just said kind of whispered thanks. And that was cool. Yeah, Batman. Iceman, Moving down here, got a few other from the Gotham TV show. I met David Mazat. David, he played Bruce, and then Carmen played the Catwoman. So that was cool. I'll show you their pictures down here. But I've met Superman. I met Tom Welling. I met a Lex Luthor named Michael Rosenbaum. But their pictures are. This one was kind of different because it happened during the pandemic. Well, shortly after the pandemic had subsided, and this was the first convention back after that I went to. It was the first Fan Expo Denver too that they did. Then I met Katie Cassidy. She played Black Canary from the Arrow Universe, DC Arrow Universe television show. Also met Katie, another Katie, but she was the White Canary, Laura Lance, in DC's Legends of Tomorrow. So that was always cool. As I've met, and they played sisters. That's what's cool about this. They played sisters in the Arrow universe, and I got to meet them. Moving over here, one of the first, I'll get in, there's a lot of stuff I'm kind of diving into that I haven't really talked about in a while, but this was a big one. I met the mom from E.T. She's also been Dee Wallace. She was also in Cujo. She did a lot of those Stephen King movies back in the 80s. So that was cool. I got to meet her. And I met her at Starfest as well. There's the one and only Jerry Mathers as the Beaver. I met him back a few years back at Colorado Springs. I've met a lot of these people at Colorado Springs Comic Con. But yeah. But probably the highlight for me, and this was probably one of the biggest things I remember. I met the actress Alex Kingston. She played River Song. I think that's how her name is on the Doctor Who TV show, the newer versions of that. But I knew her as Elizabeth Corday from ER, the TV show ER. Yeah. So I cosplayed as Dr. Green. And she's like, and I had the name badge and everything. She's like, and on that show, and if it's kind of a spoiler, but Dr. Green does pass away. And it was kind of funny because she goes, Mark. Dr. Green's character is Mark Green, as his first name. He's like, Mark, you're back from the dead. So that was kind of cool. And she knew who I was, and she didn't mess around. She knew I was Dr. Green, and that's what. Even though I had the name badge and stuff, but Alex Kingston, and I didn't have her do a Doctor Who thing because haven't really watched any of the Doctor Who's with her in them. I knew her as Dr. Corday from ER, so she had an ER picture there. So that was always a cool moment. So, if put the tally together, I've met 2 people from the hit show ER. So yeah, moving along here. Been very fortunate to meet, we'll go back up this way. Zach Galligan. I think that's how you say his name. Played Billy Peltzer in the Gremlins 1 and Gremlins 2, the new batch. Very cool guy. If I wouldn't, and I have his autograph on the Gremlins poster, if I would have known at the time, that same convention in Colorado Springs, another Colorado Springs convention attendee, if I would have known at the time, Judge Reinhold was at that same convention, who played the weird bank teller boss guy to Zach's character Billy in the original Gremlins. So that I could have had his autograph as well, but I didn't know that until later, and I'd forgotten that Judge Reinhold was in Gremlins. So a little moment about that. Then I come down to here. Because of the pandemic, this plexiglass was up. Between me, Sean Astin, and Corey Feldman. That was a cool moment. I'm always going to remember that because they really got into the picture. And I'm like, it's a wall between us. But and they've signed my Goonies poster that you've seen in other videos on the channel here. This next person is another Goonie. He's also most recently been in the TV show Loki, the 2nd season of. But there he is, Academy Award winning actor, Golden Globe winning actor, KK Kwan. Yeah, I met him as well at the very same convention I met Zach Galligan at, and that was also in Colorado Springs. So yeah, he was the second autograph that I have on my Goonies poster, 3rd being Corey Feldman, 1st being Sean Astin. But very cool. So much going on in this room. I'm glad I'm sharing it with you guys, finally breaking it down here. Move down here. Another big show that I was into, that I actually have met, Zachary Quinto plays Siler. But I've also, these are a few from the Hero Show. And there's, God, what's her name? I am drawing a blank on some of these names. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, there she is. God, what is her name? Bree something. And Greg Grunberg. He's been in Star Wars. He was in the new Star Trek movie as like Uncle, like a voice part of Uncle to Captain Kirk. So that's kind of cool. But he was also a character on one of the ships in, I think, the first Star Trek, second Star Trek Calvin Universe show. But he also came back and when they did Heroes Reborn, he came back for that. Very cool. Yeah, just little things like that. Getting back into some classic TV stars. Like I said, I met Jerry Mathers. Here is one that some of you may know, and I never knew this until later on. I started watching Kent McCord in a little show called Adam 12, and that's him in his Adam 12 outfit. But he also was on Farscape. Had no idea. I never watched Farscape I've never really watched it. So, but I love meeting the classic TV stars. They've put themselves out there so long ago, and their stuff still. I really got in, like, I really got into the show Adam 12 basically because, you know, it was out there. It was free. It was, I think we were on, I want to say YouTube, or not YouTube. The Roku, you know, has their free stuff, their free channels and stuff. But yeah, there's Kent McCord. Finally, here down on the bottom, I've met a few of the Breakfast Club people. This is Molly Ringwald. Met her at Denver Comic Con. It was Denver Comic Con then, but I'm wearing a Breakfast Club T-shirt, and she's also one of her. And I have Anthony Michael Hall also autograph my my Breakfast Club poster, which is out in my living room. It's coming back up. I met the cast of Karate Kid, all but with the exception of Pat Morita, but I've met Martin Kove, William Zatka, and Ralph Macchio. I met them, and they did a panel back at it was Denver Pop Culture Con. I think it was Denver, but I also met them in Denver at their convention they have down there. This was before Cobra Kai came back, or they came back with Cobra Kai. I feel like a couple years before that. But I've also met some Cobra Kai kids, and there they are. I met the kid that plays Dimitri, the kid that plays Kyler, and one of the girls that plays one of the girlfriends, Hannah. So yeah, I met them. But yeah, that was a really cool moment too. Totally would have not done it originally because of some other, because someone canceled. I actually ended up meeting the Cobra Kai kids. That's how I got their autographs. I think it was back when Anna Jay and Ruby Soho were supposed to be at the Colorado Springs Comic Con. I think that's when when they canceled. That's when I went through and got their photo op and autographs. Now we're getting back over to my my Marvel collection of people I've met from Marvel. I kind of tried to group all the Marvel people together, but this is the Avengers Infinity War poster signed by Benedict Wong. That's his autograph. And then Dave Bautista. And you know him, he was also in WWE as Batista, you know, wrestling as Batista. But that was kind of a cool moment. First ever like big poster that I got signed at, I think, Fan Expo, or Denver Comic Con, whatever that was back at that time. And then there he is, Benedict Wong. He's been in Doctor Strange. He was in the Avenger movies. He was in I think the recent Spider-Man. Then I met Sean Gunn, who played Kraglin, and Palm Kniff plays Mantis. And then there's good old Dave Bautista's Drax. So that's cool. Moving a little further down, I've got the Avengers Endgame poster. Nothing signed yet on it, but if there's an opportunity down the road, I'm gonna definitely get this autographed by some of the cast. Move down here. There's Palm's autograph, Mantis. Also, was really cool. I also have had a chance to meet Stefan, something, but he's better known as Colossus in the Deadpool franchise movies. And I do have Deadpool, and there's his autograph right there. Sorry if I'm slipping on names. I've met all these people. This is just kind of a take you down memory lane, but he's mostly biggerly featured in Deadpool 2, but I got his autograph as well. Just as long as I'm down here, I've met Lena Headey. You know her more recently in Game of Thrones. She was also in the Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles TV show, and I don't think she plays. I don't know. I've never seen the show, but she was in that, and there she was. I knew her more recently. When I got this picture taken, I had just, Dread has recently just came out, like not even I feel like a year before I met her personally. So I'm wearing a Dread, that shirt, the movie with Carl Urban. So she was in that. And you guys have seen this photo, this autograph before. So the Power Rangers, you know, David Yost, Jason David Frank, Austin, and girl that plays Kimberly. And there they all are. Yes, I got to meet them all. And you can go back and watch some of my other videos where I talk about Jason David Frank. Really cool guy. Move up here a tiny bit. Going back to some wrestling stuff. This, I met hardcore ECW legend Tommy Dreamer. It was kind of cool. This was kind of the resurgence that when WWE brought back ECW for a little bit. And this was at a car dealership near one of the arenas, or near the arena. He was going to be performing that night with Sandman and a few other people. But yeah, met him, and then he said, "Stay hardcore." And then Tommy Dreamer, and that's his wife, McGillick. I don't know her last name, but that's his wife in real. But moving up, so some of you have seen that I have a video out there called "That Time I Met Amy Duma," and that's is her and her band known as the Luchadors. It's back when MySpace was a huge thing, but I got to meet her when she was not wrestling. And so there, move over here. It's kind of got some reflection going on, but there's Amy, and then when she's performing. And the cool thing also about this, I got to meet another WWE she's not a Hall of Famer. She was a valet for WCW and WWE for Jeff Jarrett. That's Deborah McMichaels. So that was always cool. She happened to be in town when Amy was performing. So moving on up, this was at the time very collectible for me. It was when Triple H won the first time they said the undisputed heavyweight champion in WWE, and this was WWF. But that was a plaque I got from WWF shop at the time. This was when he came to my town, and they did a show at our local arena. Pretty cool. So here are some of my other TNA live posters from the event that was in Cheyenne, Wyoming, back in the day, and then the one from the Halloween when I showed you the picture of AJ Styles. I got some of their event posters. So back up here, big fan of The Miz. He's one of the few I still try to get some info on when I don't watch WWE anymore. I don't like some of the direction that company's gone. I know I'll get a lot of flack for that. I'm more of an AEW guy, and I'm sure I'll get flack for that as well. But I was a big fan of The Miz back in the day, so I've got a few of his figures. But then my prized possession here, I do have a replica championship belt that was rocked a lot by The Miz after he won it from John Cena. I got the belt because of John Cena. It is the spinner belt, and it's my only championship belt that I own. I'm not hardcore like a lot of other people out there, but yeah. So, but here's some of there's some of the Miz figures that I got, and those are fairly early versions of some of this. That one was cool because it had the championship, and he did the Money in the Bank and won the Money in the Bank ladder match and got that case. So continuing down past my WWE Replica Championship belt, spinner belt, I have a few more action figures. I've got a couple of the Lita action figures that they made. Yeah, I have to say, Lita's probably my favorite WWE legend wrestler. Also, it's not just because of the fact I met her in person when she wasn't wrestling, but she's probably still one of my favorites. Her and Trish Stratus. I also have a Maurice and Miz 2-pack action figure, continuing along with my Miz figures. But then I come down to probably one of the biggest things in my collection, and I've shown it here on the channel before, but it's my Spangler Hasbro Proton pack. But yeah, it's probably the biggest highlight of my collection. I've got Ghostbuster hat, some replica Ecto goggles, and my trap, PKE meter, just a bunch of my Ghostbuster gears down in this corner. The walkie-talkie that Spirit Halloween did. Also have some socks, so that's cool. Of course, I always love turning this sucker on and showing you what it looks like, so I'll do that here. Oh, hit the wrong button. There we go. So yeah, just love how it lights up. It's really cool. Probably one of the biggest, like I said, biggest things in my collection in this room, other than, the replica belt. But I'll get into some other things next week in the next two-part of this video. But yeah, so there's my Proton pack. And finally, in this room, I do have a TV. It's a 42-inch TV that this cool thing about this is I got it like when I bought a laptop computer about, God, I want to say probably 10 years ago now. And it's not on all the time. But when I'm in this room, I have it on, usually streaming something or, watching YouTube or whatnot. But I have a few other little items on here. Got a couple Star Trek little micro lunch boxes. They're kind of cool. I've put stuff in them like to, keep like some of my comm badges and stuff. Also got a very special pin from the last Starfest that they had in Denver. And I made this. I had a big old project I made years and years ago. Well, I needed to make a log cabin. Well, this one is really cool because, and it's what I have left from it. Kind of when I got moved, the project kind of crumbled apart because it was made with plaster and stuff. But this is still kind of my highlight. These are actually made of twigs and I spackled them together. So these are actual like branches and stuff from a tree that used to be outside my grandpa's house back in the day. And then I had a little character that went along with the project. Have Captain America shield, old school Captain America shield miniature. Then I have this Triple H bobblehead. And I got a few other like weird things, like I got a Star Trek watch, Delta watch. I just put a lot of miscellaneous stuff right here. Got a keychain. So some more Star Trek stuff. As I pan down here, you're gonna notice, oh, what is that odd thing? A lot of people don't know what this is, and it's a VCR. It's what they would put out. They put out cassettes and stuff on what people would watch before Blu-ray, before 4K, before streaming. So yeah, and it still works. I only have one actual. Well, it's a trilogy. I had the original Star Wars trilogy on VHS, and it's the unaltered original versions. No new CGI, any of that. But that's what I usually watch in this. I also have a bunch of old wrestling tapes that I've watched, like old Monday Nitros and Raws and stuff too, that I occasionally will watch. And it works with a Kerner TV. So as I pan further down here, oh my, I have another classic relic. I guess for a lot of people out there, I have a PS2, and if you're a retro gamer, you know what this is. But it's the PlayStation 2, and I remember this is still a very special part of my life because this is one of the rare times that I camped out to get a device like electronic device. And I work at a Walmart, and that I still work at today, and I actually camped out with a few of my buddies at work, and we all got our first hands on the PS2. So that's another memory that I don't share a lot, but that's why I have that. So go a little further down. It's all I don't have many PlayStation 2 games. This one though is always going to be special to me. All the Grand Theft Autos, that's what I grew up playing. But this one here specifically is always going to be special because this is when I met Danny Trejo last year. This was I had him sign my Grand Theft Auto PlayStation 2 game. Yeah, so that's cool and whatnot. So I also just realized as I was displaying and showing you all the Proton Pack, I had a few things that were actually behind the Proton Pack that I didn't show you. And I'll show you those really quick. I've met, that's Jim Davis. He's the creator of Garfield, and met him at a convention down in Denver a few years back. Then this guy, he's a voice actor. Troy Baker, you know, he's done the voice of Joel from The Last of Us. He played Sam in the Uncharted series, who's the brother of Nathan Drake. Moving along here, I also have met the voice actor who plays Squidward on SpongeBob SquarePants. There he is, it's Roger Bumpus. And then I've met a couple other voice actors from the Red Dead Redemption games. This is the guy who voiced the John Marston, and the other guy, the big actor that did the voice of Arthur Morgan his name is Roger Clark. And then probably the coolest person that I've met back here, there's Dante Basco. He played Rufio in the in Hook with Robin Williams and Dustin Hoffman. He's also been Zuko, I think that's his name, in Avatar: The Last Airbender cartoon. And this is actually kind of cool. I went to a live WWE event years and years. 2005. I'm looking at the ticket. Wow. I actually had bought one of the programs that shows all the wrestlers and stuff, and I had a star, and I actually won this T-shirt autographed by Shelton Benjamin, who's no longer with WWE, but that's the picture I took of him at the event. But yeah, so I have this like in a frame, this T-shirt. That's going to do it for today. Part 1 of my pop culture collection. Stay tuned for part 2 coming to your way next week. But yeah, kind of just getting some documentation on here, and I'll tease you a little bit for what you'll see next week here on the channel. Till next time, live long and prosper. See you next week. Thanks for watching.